Okay, I'm doing my blog for the 19th of December 2022. My blog for today is called Into the Bowels of the Theater. I remember doing the ballet War and Peace by Valery Panoff. They needed a lot of period clothing, including fur coats and hats, mufflers, gloves, etc. We were instructed to go to an area of the theater I had never personally been to before that moment. Theaters are like a maze, and perhaps the only good thing that came out of the terrible destruction of the cities during the World Wars was that they had to start from scratch to rebuild theaters. That allowed them to dig deep holes and put many levels below the street level and bring in modern innovations such as hydraulics for moving entire sets from the stage level to the two lower levels, or bring sets in from behind the stage, or even move sets to the sides of the stage on either side of the wings. So, while the audiences walked in and would sit at stage level from the street or go higher up to the balconies, most do not realize that below the stage there are 3 to 5 levels. 2 of the levels often just store the large sets, equipment, stage furniture, lights, etc. But below that, there is a warehouse of all the costumes. Nothing is thrown away because often costumes can be retooled and reused for other performances, and costumes are very expensive to make. Besides, ballets and operas will come back around every few years, especially the popular ones such as Aida, The Merry Widow, Swan Lake, Coppelia, and Giselle. And those costumes will be needed again. In this case, with War and Peace, it was a new ballet based in Russia, and we needed lots of fur coats for the outdoor scenes. In the production, we even had real Russian wolfhounds on the stage. The German theaters are subsidized by the government and have more money to work with than in most American theaters. One day, we went down to the bowels of the theater to a corner that I had never previously been. Such places have a spooky quality as you walk through. Endless rows of old costumes seem to be alive as they patiently wait for another time and place to live again. We got to the area of the fur coats. They were all covered in large cloth bags to protect them from the elements, the dampness, etc. I remember seeing endless rows of them with matching hats, gloves, muffs, etc. It was like being in a warehouse for the wealthy. The costume designer was there and had sorted what he wanted and the look that he was going for in a certain scene of the ballet. It was now about trying them on and seeing if the overall effect was what he was going for. Our costumes that were going to be under those coats were there for us to put on before the coat, because sometimes a costume's thickness of the skirt or bodice would make a coat too small. Or in the case of the use of most of these coats, made originally for the opera singers, they could be much too large in general. It was wonderfully exciting and chilling, as this area of the theater was designed to be cold to prevent moths from wanting to feast on all the fabrics. As a dancer, we were not shy or body conscious. After all, we spend our lives dealing with costume designers, fittings, and people poking and pulling on fabrics while they are on our bodies. It was nice to finally go from naked to fully covered in a warm coat in that cold, vast space. I remember suddenly realizing that I was standing in a full-length silver fox coat with a matching hat and gloves with fur trim. Wow. That outfit was worth a lot of money, and I realized that this moment I was wearing clothes that probably cost more than half my yearly salary. Such moments I would try to take completely in: the richness of the fabrics, the smell of the fur, the expansive space filled to the brim with marvelous costumes, the laughter of the women, the sounds of astonishment, seeing the reflections of us in the mirrors, and feeling the magic that began to unfold, that would eventually become a ballet, was something difficult to explain unless one was actually there. I hope you found this interesting, and thank you for listening. I hope it was insightful, and thank you for sharing a moment with me down memory lane.